somebody asked me to organize an S&M closet. That was different.
What? Somebody asked you to do what? I don't think I heard you right.
Yeah, you did. So how did you do that?
I put gloves on. I put gloves on. Everyone I work with, when I'm on the phone, I have to figure out if I could talk to them. And I enjoyed talking to the person, went there. She told me it was an exercise room, which technically I guess it would be.
Welcome to Three Little Fishes. We're three sisters who grew up in the Midwest together, but have since spread across the country. I live in Los Angeles.
I'm in Nashville.
And I live in Philadelphia. We are all married with children. We've all had careers, but now we stay at home with our families.
We've all been through ups and downs that come along with life and have always helped each other through, shared stories, and laughed together.
We welcome all of you into our daily conversations and hope you have some fun with us.
So let's jump in.
What's up, fishes?
What's up?
Hello.
I'm just going to jump in. I feel like I want to do a new segment that I'm just going to spring on you called Fishes Bitchin'.
Okay.
So I am
on.
feeling kind of annoyed. So I was on campus for school last week. And I ran into my daughter's teacher, and she is in 4th grade. And her teacher is super nice, super lovely.
Right.
But it happened to, I ran into her and she was saying how Johanna was doing. And I feel like last week might have been particularly like a little prickly. Johanna had a tough week. She had to get a blood test. They're checking to just make sure that she doesn't have a gluten issue. I don't think she does, but she has to go through all of the things. So that wasn't fun.
Yeah.
And they adjusted her diet a little bit, which she didn't like. And she just is worried about it. She's emotional like me a little bit. And
We call
So
that
she
big
just-
feelings. She's a big feelings person.
yes, Johanna was having big feelings last week for
Okay.
sure. And like rightfully so. So
Absolutely.
I feel like maybe classroom, she was loud, more loud than normal. And she does have a big personality and a big voice. Again, I think she comes by that honestly. And so there's that layer. But then the teacher was talking about her schoolwork and academically how she goes in waves, which she does. Like she does really well, and then she might fall down on a quiz, but then she comes back up. But she's doing just fine, like nothing that I'm totally worried about. But she does have to work hard. Math does not come easy for her. And her teacher did ask me unprompted, do you notice if she flips her letters? And I say sometimes. So we have been watching that, but I've been watching that from the time that she's been in school. And this is the first
Severe
time
dyslexia. Yeah.
because I have severe dyslexia. That's right. But no other teacher has ever mentioned anything. They've never said that they feel like she has even a winkling or a wink of a learning disability. But this teacher is saying she is emotional this week. I sometimes notice that she flips her letters. She concentrates really hard and she really has to focus and takes her a long time sometimes on work, but she's like, that's okay, but just that's something. And she is emotional and she gets distracted. So I said, okay, so what does the school, so you're saying you might see something, it makes sense, I'm severely dyslexic. What here at the school do you recommend? Do you feel like she's a candidate to test her to see if she has dyslexia? Oh no, we wouldn't do that. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? She's like, oh no, we wouldn't do that until she was failing 2 grade levels. And I was like, what?
What? That doesn't make sense.
Right. She has to fail 2 grade levels before the school will test and intervene.
So she has to be behind 2 grade levels in order for them to intervene with their social worker and test her for a learning disability.
Correct.
And that's a big fail. I mean, not only are you failing school, but there's like a big emotional component to that, I would think as well.
Yes.
So that seems like extreme.
Yes.
Nancy, you can just have her tested privately.
for sure. My takeaway was though, and we will be able to do it, but it's thousands of dollars to have these
Oh,
kids
yeah.
tested. Like it's super expensive, which is fine. If that's what she needs, we'll end up doing it. But my big takeaway was like Johanna will figure it out and we'll keep watching and maybe testing. We'll have to do that for her. But like, what if she doesn't have parents that can do it? You're literally going to let these kids fall so hard on their face before you're going to intervene and give them support. I honestly, my makes me crazy. What
Yeah.
are we doing? What are we
Right.
doing?
Yeah,
And
that's
you,
not right.
you
That's
go to
not
a
right.
public school. You go to a public school.
I do go to a public school,
Yeah.
but I also want to support the public school. Like what are we doing? Like we have all these people talking about how important public school is and how we need to support our kids, but it doesn't seem like we're doing that. So that is my, what are we doing? I don't
I'm
understand it at
surprised
all.
by that because I thought public schools actually support people with learning, challenges more than like private
Well,
schools.
I mean, I guess what I'm learning is they really have to fall on their face. And then it's like not only falling on their face, but then you're going to crush them emotionally before you're willing to give them intervention. It is
Yeah.
Right.
bananas to me. And I just question, what are we doing? So
Right.
that's my little bitch session. I'm sorry that I
That's
said
your
bitch
rant.
yes.
That's okay. I'm sorry you're going through that.
All right, friends. I just want to thank everybody who's taking the time to listen and join our conversation. I just want to remind you to please rate, review, subscribe to wherever you're getting your pods, and please invite 3 of your favorite fishes to jump in on the conversation. You guys, I'm going to just move us for just 1 second. I want to tell you that I love TV, and I just wanted to tell you that I found 2 new shows that are actually airing on regular TV. And Tim will probably laugh at me because like growing up, I used to love to watch the old show Matlock, with
Matlock.
Matlock.
Yes,
And
Matlock.
so they rebooted it with Kathy Bates, and I watched the pilot. And they did like an interesting spin on it. And I'm interested. And it's airing on ABC again on Thursday nights. And I think I'm going to make a conscious effort to watch it. And then also on ABC, I don't work for ABC, but you think I would. But I also have High Potential with Caitlin Olsen.
Yeah, that's cute.
It's actually really cute. So
Yeah,
like,
I'll have
cute.
to watch it.
like some fun shows.
Yeah.
I
I
encourage
watched
you
that
to check
too.
it out.
It's cute.
Check it
So
out.
I also have a show I just finished watching. It has 4 seasons. I think it's been renewed for a 5th. It's really smart. It's called Slow Horses. It is set in London, so everybody's British. So if you can, I put on the closed caption. Rich, my husband, hates it when I have closed caption on because he doesn't want to have to read and watch at the same time. But I sometimes have a hard time hearing accents. But anyway, Slow Horses is very, very smart. It's kind of like a spy show, and it has Gary Oldman in it and Kristen Scott Thomas. And it's very good. So I highly recommend Slow Horses if you like spy genre stuff. It's good. Check it out.
I'm excited. The Lincoln Lawyer's coming back.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
I think the end of this week.
Netflix makes you be patient because they're not very quick about getting their shows back
They're
out.
not.
So
They're not.
Yeah.
I'm excited. All right, today we are talking about all things organization and decluttering because Linda, you particularly this is on the top of your brain because you're hosting your in-laws for Thanksgiving and you're trying to wrap your head around that.
Yeah, so I don't know if anybody else experiences this, but whenever I have sleepover guests, I always feel extra motivated to make sure the house is put together. And it may be my own thing, but I like for the guest room to be, of course, spick and span and the closets organized. But if I'm having guests for like multiple days, then I also want the pantry clean and the kitchen clean. And like, I want people to be able to find things, or me say, go somewhere and you can find this. So I have like a little bit of crazy when I have company, and I'm going to have multiple rooms used because it's a bigger family coming, 2 families actually. And I'm starting to think about it, which I sort of naturally declutter in the fall and the spring anyway, but I'm going to do like the deep dive. And so we decided to talk about this. And later in the show, we are interviewing a friend of mine who is a professional organizer on, like, that's her side hustle. Unfortunately, the sound isn't perfect, so bear with us there. But she gave us some really good tips and tricks of the trade. But I was looking up decluttering, and there are physical and mental like benefits, and we'll put a link at the end in the show notes about that. But like physically, it's good to get rid of extra stuff because you have less dust mites. So that leads to less allergens in your house if you have allergies. So it's kind of good to kind of clear the deck a little bit. But then also, this is something that I really feel is there's an emotional benefit. You get rid of the visual extra stuff in your life, and it gives you less anxiety. And if you work from home, which a lot of us do, clearing off your desk, even if you're a visual worker, like organizing and visually kind of clearing off your space makes you more productive, and you're more efficient, and you're less anxious. And there's just this emotional component to decluttering that is, really powerful. And I actually feel that whenever I fold all the blankets and get everything organized and clear everything up in the space that we live in every day, I mean, it just lifts a weight that it's really nice. So we decided to talk about decluttering.
Yeah, I'm always happy when my desk is clean, and it's not at the moment, but I'm happy.
So are you girls pilers or filers? Like, I file things away, but my husband is a piler. Like, his desk has piles of papers, and it drives me insane because I'll be like, I can't even dust because you have so much stuff going on. But he feels like he knows where everything is. Are you a piler or a filer?
Well, I'm a filer, and my husband's a piler.
So, Kathy, I
It's
think
like a
that
tongue twister.
I think that I'm surprised. I think that I'm surprised to hear that, because Peter has all these folders. For our listeners who don't know him, he has all these individual like label folders for like whatever they are. So I think that I'm shocked to hear that he's a piler, not a filer.
Well, that's interesting. Yes, he is also a filer, but that comes later. That's like the pile is first on his desk, and then he'll eventually file it.
And it may be years.
It could be a long time.
My problem is we don't have a ton of space. So if it's super important, I have a file for that. But a lot of times I'm just putting it in a drawer and I don't want it out. I just want to put it somewhere, which makes Tim insane. He's like, you just shove things and you don't find a home for them. And then we need it later and you don't know where you put it. And he's not wrong. I do that. But my thing is, don't leave it out if it's important. If it's important, then you file it somewhere. Otherwise, I can't be responsible for it.
You know what's funny too? Peter will come in the kitchen and I, organize things in the kitchen differently. And maybe sometimes I'll leave a few things out because I'm going to file it or put it away somewhere, but I know it's there. He'll come in and take it and put it in the cabinet or something. I'll be like, did you move that really important, paper or whatever?
Yeah.
And I'll be like, I don't think so. Well, maybe I did. I'm like, don't touch my stuff. Like, no, I don't go in your office and move stuff around.
So Kathy, you and Peter, and I don't really want to talk about this right this second because we talk about it with Dunk late in the later segment, but you and Peter are kind of locking heads a little bit on your closet. So that will be fun to see if you get any help with Dunk. moving forward with your
Yeah.
conflicts.
I feel like he and we just organize things differently. And it's funny, we feel about our kitchen, like refrigerator. I'm more a thrower outer, and he's like, "Oh, that's still good. I'll eat that." I'm like, "No, you won't. You don't ever eat leftovers." Like, but he thinks that we waste food a lot, which I am conscious about that. But I mean, there are times that he'll be like, "I saw you throw away something that was like, I mean, it was like hidden in the garbage. Like, how did you find that?" Like,
Yeah, I sometimes do that with like something that the kids or Rich, want to hang on to, but it's like ripped, there's whole, like something is a muck. Like you can't even donate whatever this is, and I'll throw it out and they will fish it out of the trash sometimes. So I have to
my
do it when they're
gosh.
gone because they're
Oh my
crazy.
gosh. Oh,
yeah,
no.
Peter does that to me all the time with like,
I think this is such a common thing because everybody's lives are constantly in movement. When you have little kids, don't you remember those years where the kids were constantly outgrowing clothes? So I would have bins and I had them labeled like 2T, 3T, 4T, 6X, and I would move I have two girls, so I would move them through those clothes, but then one boy, and then I would be donating. It was like a full-time job to rotate kids' clothes
right.
and donate. And then there were a couple of like Christmas dresses that I insisted on keeping, and I do have them in a bin. I don't know what I think I'm going to do with them, but they were like nice and cute, and I wanted to hang on to them. So I have, a few of those things. But now we're in this phase that is also emotional for me, and that is the kids are moving on out of their lives into young adulthood and getting apartments. So I recently bought new omelet pans and I was trying new brands, which will be a whole nother segment one of these days. And I took the old omelet pans and I put them in the basement in our storage area so the kids could have them when they have their apartments. And my husband went into the storage area because we almost got into a big row even last night because he has a show and he was looking for this particular thing with his drum set and he couldn't find it. And he was like deflecting that I had somehow moved his stuff and he couldn't find it because he would never put it, blah, blah, blah. He was like looking for an hour and getting all spun out about it. And I was like, I haven't touched drum stuff. I haven't moved it. He's like, you always move my stuff. But anyway, he had to go into the storage room and he was like, this place is a mess. And I'm like, yes, it is. It's definitely due for a redo.
Yeah.
Because we keep moving things around the house, Kathy, like you were doing.
Yeah.
Because people are moving in apartments, then they're going overseas, then they're doing this, then they're going to the dorm. And I don't know what to do with my stuff. So it's a real issue, and I need to spend the next few weeks sort of like going through things and using some of the techniques that we learned with our friend.
But there's also stuff I feel like I have that are nice things. Like I have these ceramic pots that I thought maybe someday I'll bring it out and put a nice, plant in the living room or something. And I've never gotten rid of it, but it's like
it's too nice to pitch, right?
It's right. I feel like it's too nice to get rid of. And I have like brand new, I mean, you guys are going to laugh, but brand new like picnic baskets that my husband and I got for our wedding. Like they still have the wrapper on them. And
From
I'm
your
like,
wedding?
yes.
From your wedding?
Yes.
Like 25 years ago?
I have one of those too. And I love it and I can't get rid of it. And it has all the accoutrements in it, like china and all the things. And it's amazing. But you know why I don't use it? It's heavy.
Yeah.
The picnic basket's heavy and awkward. So I use my rolling thing. But I can't get rid of it because it's so nice. I have the same problem.
Oh, that would be so nice to actually have a lovely picnic. And so I'm not going to get rid of it. But that's what I have in my basement. I just have stuff.
Wow.
So we've been talking about decluttering. We interviewed a good friend of ours, Rebecca Dunkel. She's a professional organizer, and we did a little interview with her yesterday. So take a listen. Welcome, Dunk. We're so happy you're with us today.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Is there like a special time of year that you think is better to declutter your house?
I think since I've always been a Midwesterner, I usually go when it snows to give me some kind of level of production. And then in the summer, when I realize I'm never getting into the summer clothes from the year before and the year before that, and the hopeful pile is no longer hopeful. Sometimes, like I'll do little
I get that.
I'll do little decluttering, like when I'm looking for a wallet or something that I feel is going to make me look 50 pounds thinner in the outfit. But yeah, I do 2 big ones twice a year, and then I do little ones here and there as a distraction or procrastination.
Well, part of the reason that we also started thinking about this, Kathy, can I just throw you to the wolves? And
Sure.
Do you want to just like introduce?
You always do.
So you and Peter got in a little bit of a tiff over your closet. Do you want to talk about that and ask her maybe for some professional guidance or help?
Yes, I would love to get Dunk's opinion about this. So my husband and I share, a pretty big walk-in closet. He has his side and I have my side. And then we kind of share a row in the middle that is like for hanging clothes. And then we can share the shelf space on top. You would think it'd be plenty of space, but I have found that he's kind of running out of space and I'm running out of space. But recently, I went into our guest room and he said he had like thinned out his closet and he was like kind of proud of himself. And I was like, great. Like it's normally a feat to get him to throw away things. So I was in our guest room because we were getting ready to have guests. And I see 2 racks full of his clothes are in that guest closet. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, that's not for you. It's for our guests. He's like, who cares? Like, we only have guests like a couple times a year. And I said, well, it bothers me. Like, that is for our guest room.
You're like that movie Turner and Hooch. This is not your area.
This is not your room. Can I ask, like, why is there spillage? You have a big room and a big closet. I've seen it. So why is there spillage?
To be honest, I think some of those clothes were because they're not fitting him quite the way he would like them to, which I relate. But you can't keep hanging on to years and years of clothes that don't fit.
That's the professional. Can you and should you hang on to clothes that don't fit anymore?
I think the hardest thing, I think so many people are guilty of that because you can't say to a loved one, are you holding on to that because you think you're going to fit into it? Let's be honest. Everyone has a little section like that, but
this is a big section. I'm not.
Pack it up and be like, hey, I'll make you a bet. Like, let's pack it all up. And if you are itching to go in there within 3 months, you could take this many items out. And then if you haven't done it in 3 months, because you're probably going to notice if it does, see 6 months. And then you kind of realize, okay, I haven't gone in there. And it's hard to do because it's a significant other and you don't want to insult them because they think they're going to hold on to it. Or maybe the clothes legitimately have some kind of memory to it. But somebody was telling me, and I don't know who said it, was like, you have the memory from the picture or you have the memory of what you wrote in the journal. Do you really need to keep a jacket that's super thick?
Setting a time limit for it and going back and looking and seeing, okay, it still doesn't fit. I haven't used it. Yeah. So setting some sort of time limit. Would you do that, you think?
Yeah, I actually think I will present that to him. See what he thinks.
And it's actually kind of a good idea for all of us, right? Because I have some long dresses that I probably am not going to wear again, but I have hung on to like 3 or 4 of them, not a lot. They don't take up a lot of space. But the clothes that are not going to fit, because it takes you a year, the style's out.
Right.
True.
Yeah, but maybe your girls will want to wear them later. They'll become their vintage,
They're vintage. Yeah, everything
There
I
you go.
have is vintage. Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
that's
it's
true.
interesting too, because I actually, on my side of the closet, kind of am in a similar situation where I'm running out of space and I don't know. I think my golf clothes have increased, which is pushing the rest of my clothes to the max. And then I asked my husband if I could share a little part of his closet for my summer dresses. Yeah, we've been having a little like closet war or whatever you call it.
Can you store your stuff differently? Like instead of hanging everything, is there a way it could be folded and stored differently so you maximize your space?
We do have a basement, but I feel like our basement is now getting cluttered with just stuff we don't want at the top of the house, so it goes to the basement. I mean, it's like a cycle.
Are you becoming a hoarder? Are you all becoming hoarders? Is this a whole other podcast episode that you need some intervention?
I don't know. I think we need Doug's help with like what should we get rid of, because
Yeah,
we do have
it is
nice
hard.
things in our basement, and it's like, should we really get rid of that? But we really haven't used something for 20 years, and it's still in our basement.
But you have an emotional attachment, and that's what can be tough. And so sometimes it's like a timer. You set a timer, make a decision. Here is this sweater. You count to 10 seconds. Donate, keep, or toss. And then in 10 seconds, you got to make a decision next. You got to be a little mean sometimes.
Oh,
That's what you need. Some tough love, sounds like.
So you know what I kind of struggle with sometimes, and our mother struggles with, and I want to hear your opinion about this, is the pantry and the refrigerator. Now, I just cleaned my pantry and I did have some expired canned goods, and I actually ended up throwing them out because some of them were like 4 years expired. But I emptied out my pantry and I wiped down the shelves and I put everything back according to like product type or whatever. And I looked at all the expiration dates. I will say, keep a couple of like dry goods like beans and stuff that are in a bag that probably expired 6 months ago, but I just felt like your dried beans, like how bad can you go? So what is your do you have a process for the pantry, and what's your take on expiration dates?
The pantry is a sneaky little devil. You go in there and I'm like, why do I have 4 bags of almond flour? Like, did they multiply? What happened? And then you realize it goes bad. And so sometimes I just I try to make a strike on it, like no more pantry items at the grocery until I downsize. If it's expired, it's expired. Like I really don't mess with it, even though I probably would be fine if I ate something expired because I probably have enough alcohol in my blood to kill anything. I usually toss. And I'm like, I just don't want to risk it.
Okay. So then do you do that too in your pantry? Like, do you organize by category, or?
I'm not like, you're blessed with being a good cook. I could plate something, but I'm not a great cook. So I don't have that problem. So I don't really have as many things around. Where I get into trouble is like the things I think I'm going to do, like the arts or the creativity part, clothing. Totally. Like I'm a sucker for something on sale, but then I'm like, okay, something's coming in, something's got to go out.
So that's a kind of a good tip too. So if you're buying a t-shirt needs to go away.
Yeah, I do. I try to do that.
Do you have like tips of best way to keep like your t-shirts? Is there a best way to store them and to keep them?
I fold them. I don't love to fold, but for me, it was a space option. So I just fold them a certain way. Like I tried to watch that Marie Kondo and it was too much. If it shouldn't be that hard. Something's that hard, it doesn't make sense. Right. So I just kind of folded what worked for me and what was the best bang for my buck on space.
Do you ever have clients that come to you? So I got in trouble a while back, and my child still holds on to this, that I did this, but we had moved, and he had all these loveys, loveys, we call them stuffed animals. Yeah. He had so many, and we were getting ready to move. This was years ago. So I put them all in a big trash bag, and I'm just like, well, I'll see if they notice that these loveys are gone. And, if not, I'll just donate them as we move. So we get to our new place, and months has gone by, and he comes to me and he goes, Mom, where are all my loveys? Where are all my loveys? And I said, I donated them. And you would have thought I cut off an arm. And he still brings it up to this day that I donated his loveys. But honestly, he did not even notice that they were missing, I would say, for 6 to 9 months.
I think there's that joke about, like, if you throw out a kid's crayon, you have to do it like a Mexican drug cartel when they don't notice, because the things they notice are nuts. Yeah. I'm working with this one family, and she had a surprise third, and she's getting rid of it. And so I went to pick up some of the stuff, and she donates a lot of it to my school that's in her city, and her 4-year-old's running after it like it's gold. And I felt bad, and as politely as possible, I told the 4-year-old, it's going to kids that might not have a chance to get toys. And I said, I know it's tough, but if I send you a picture of the kid with the toy, is that going to help you? And so I did that. So I don't really think it's the actual stuffed animal. I think they just want to be included in a way, but then it's tough because they're little and you have to power clean.
Can I ask you another question regarding the pantry? In space. So my husband and I get into this a little bit. I have this Lazy Susan cabinet. Like, I have a cabinet and a Lazy Susan top and bottom inside. And on the top of the Lazy Susan, I have like Tupperware and, containers. And on the bottom are like to-go cups and whatnot. But it's not that much space. And I can't put the tops on the Tupperware containers and store them. So I have to kind of put the containers inside of each other and then put the tops, where underneath. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of messy, and you can't always find a top, but it's there somewhere. And my husband, Tim, was like, this is the most crazy system, and it's terrible. You can't find anything in here, Nancy. You're so disorganized, because the running joke in my family is I don't like clutter, so I just shove it in a drawer, and it's gone. So he's like, this is like more of the same, but I don't know how to store it any better because I don't have that much space. Like, would you have a tip for me or someone like me of how you would manage that?
The Lazy Susan, I always think, is more efficient for food or goods that you're going to go to and you're trying to be efficient in grabbing them. And the water bottles, I think, are always a swear word, where to put those water bottles, between the straws and the tops and the shakers. But what's the most important thing? Usually Lazy Susans, it's whatever you're using the most. If it's canned goods or different cereals.
And, I hear you say a lot too. It's like you have to set some boundaries and parameters for yourself for all items in your house, because we are kind of excessive. I mean, I'm kind of an excessive person. If I like something, I have a lot of it. But the reality is you don't need a lot of stuff. You just need like a few items for each kind of category, whether you're talking kitchen or bathroom or clothing. It's kind of all the same thing, right?
Right.
You know what I struggle with is the linen closet. Oh. Like towels, I do them color coded and I fold them, but like figuring out how to keep the hand towels and the washcloths, like stacking them because they kind of fall over. And then the bedding is a hot mess. Like I always think, okay, I'm going to get it figured out, and I never do. And I'm looking for sheets and I can't find the right size because of course I have like 3 different size beds in this stupid house. Any tips on the linen closet? Because that's a nightmare.
If you larger space, I would do bins. And one bin is for the queen size, one bin is for the king, and one bin is for the twin or whatever. Because then you just grab like the bin for it. For towels, I don't even fold the damn towels. So I roll them.
Oh, you roll them.
Yeah.
And so then you stack them on top of each other.
And I just stack them on top because then they don't fall. And then it's kind of easier. Like,
I never have thought about rolling towels before, and it might be easier. It might take up less space too in the closet if you do roll them. Like, I'm going to try that tip.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to try that too.
you could experiment with how you roll it. Like if you loosely fold it and roll it or whatever. And it's just easier. My buddy who's doing an Airbnb out in kind of by Wisconsin Dells, we did that. Like they had all these, their place sleeps 16. So they had linens galore. And that's what we did. She used a labor maker and we just did twin. And everything in this larger container was for the twin beds. And then we stayed organized. It's tough if you have a larger house.
That's a good idea. I should do that. Now, what do you think about, like, give people an idea, like say you haven't decluttered your house in a while and you have some spaces that you have a lot going on.
Right.
What are some tips that would help somebody start a decluttering process when they haven't done it in a while?
I think make sure you have something that's going to de-stress you. Like if you're like, okay, I have 45 minutes timer, you take everything out, you clean, and then you do 3 piles, and then you look at your time. Maybe after 45 minutes of your favorite CD or whoever, podcast, whatever have you. After 45 minutes, you check in. And if you feel like you need a break because you're getting too stressed out, then you need to take a break. Go for a walk, like do something for 5 to 10 and then go back into it. I do better if I have music when I organize because I get less overwhelmed.
Yeah.
It's real easy to get overwhelmed. Real easy to forget that everyone has a different level of organization that works for them.
And your 3 piles again are keep, toss,
And
donate.
But you have to set a timer. If you're in doubt, count to 10. Or I take a picture of myself in it and send it to like Lynn or someone who's totally going to be objective. And you could tell right away by that first word they say, oh, that they're being nice, but that's a heck no. Get rid of it.
So consistently what I hear from you is set time limits for yourself when you're either decluttering or you're organizing or you're cleaning something out. So set a set timer, and also get yourself 3 either bins or bags or whatever. One is keep, one is toss, one is donate. And set yourself up for that's a secret to success. Like setting yourself up for that success is getting yourself organized even before you start your organization.
And throw that donate in the car ASAP. Because if it sits by for even 2 hours, you might go through that.
Right. My husband would. He'd be like, oh, are we getting rid of that? What?
Oh, that's why I have to do it when people are gone.
It's secret. You have to do it. It's secret.
I know my family joke, they are always saying, oh, mom loves to throw things away. Do I love to throw things away? But we don't have the space to just have it take up room.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because my family accuses me of the same thing, but also I have heard all of my people say at one time or another, when I go in and clean their room and they walk in and you can see the floor and everything is lined up and organized, they feel more calm and they enjoy it more. So I think there is like a visualization thing that is stressful if you have too much happening in your space.
Yeah.
So I love that this is such, this was amazing stuff, Dunk. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the listeners? Like any other tips or tricks or ideas or stories that you want to share with them?
I don't know if I could say this one. You might edit it out. But somebody asked me to organize an S&M closet. That was different.
What? Somebody asked you to do what? I don't think I heard you right.
Yeah, you did. So how did you do that?
I put gloves on. Everyone I work with, when I'm on the phone, I have to figure out if I could talk to them. And I enjoyed talking to the person, went there. She told me it was an exercise room, which technically I guess it would be. And like I went in and she was very cool. She's like, "Are you still game for it?" I said, "Yes." I said, "But I'm trying to ask." I said, "This is," she goes, "How would you organize something?" I said, "How often do you use it?" She's like, "That's what I was thinking." So she literally had to help me. I didn't know what some things were. And yeah, we organized it. She wanted clear bends so she could see everything. Um, yeah, so sometimes it's just someone that needs a plus one to help them organize.
And there's no judgment. There's no judgment in
I mean,
organizing. Yeah.
And she was totally cool.
yeah.
And she's like, "It's just organizing. It's just something different that you're organizing." I was like, "True. Like,
Did she get rid of anything?
I can't donate any of it."
Right. All right, girls, anything else?
No, this is very helpful. Thank you, Dunk.
Thank you, Dunk, so much. This was so fun to have you on and giving us some tips.
Good. Kathy, I want to hear what happens when you say that to the husband. Let me know.
I will. I will let you know.
It was great to spend some time listening to Dunk give us some tips and tricks of her trade of decluttering and organizing. Thank you so much. We hope all of our listeners had a couple of takeaways from that, and we appreciate her sitting in. Let us know if you have any tips or tricks that you would like to share with the fishes.
All right, y'all. What's for dinner?
Well, tonight I am going to go very simple. We're having chicken fried rice and a side salad. I have a recipe that I will share in the notes. It is a family favorite, so that and a side salad.
Sounds good. We want to thank you for listening to our podcast and letting us sisters jump into your day. Please make sure to follow, rate, and review us. We'd love to hear your feedback. Please also share our podcast with 3 of your favorite little fishes so we can grow. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy fall. Sisters out.